Welcome to Religion and Race. This presentation is meant to give you an outline for the direction of our class this semester. I'm Dr. Joshua Bartholomew, and I'd like to talk with you about religion and racial projects. This was originally a presentation I gave at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, where I created the first systematic study of online white supremacist ideological narratives. The goal of this presentation was to show how the philosophical background of the category of religion and its relationship to the construct of modern race laid the foundation for anti-Black racial hate narratives. This relationship ultimately shapes and frames our approach to the study and understanding of what it means to be a human being. In this lesson, I'll go over the relationship between religion and the world, religion and systems of power, and religion and otherness. I'll talk about how these processes formed religion as a racial project consisting of narratives and Western cultural bias. But first, we need to talk about what we mean by the category of religion itself. Take a minute to think about an answer to the question, what is religion? Write your answer down. Now, to make life easier for all of us, here is a working definition of religion. Religion refers to existential dimensions of life which may or may not be immediately obvious to human beings. If I remember correctly, I got this definition from anthropologist Clifford Geertz. Now, I'm sure all of us would agree with the definition I provided because it aligns with the ways in which we've been taught to think about what religion is. In other words, the definition I provided conforms to the conventional way scholars have studied and taught religious studies. Here are a few scholars credited with shaping the category of religion for us. Mircea Eliade is known to be the founder of modern religious studies, coining the dichotomy of sacred and profane. He is from Romania. Durkheim is the founder of modern sociology and is credited with attributing to religion a description of it as reflective of the collective character of a people or group. And Max Muller, a British philologist of German origin, fashioned the study of linguistics into the discipline of religious studies. All of these classical thinkers are considered classical in the field because they all represent the subjectivity of heterosexual white Christian men. So it follows that if I asked you to name religions you'd expect to see in a world religions class, what would you say? Take a minute to think about it. Now, most people would undoubtedly say Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, and Buddhism. Why? Because of the way European scholars configured the term, the category of religion is a racialized category even when race is not explicitly on the table. Theology professor Ted Weil asserts this exact point in his book, Modern Religion, Modern Race. Essentially, what gets left out of the category are usually quote-unquote religions from the continent of Africa or quote-unquote religions related to the histories and worldviews of indigenous folk in the Americas and Australia. Scholars like Tomoko Masuzawa takes the point a step further to say that the Western development of the category of religion did less to study religion and more to create an identity for the West, over and against everyone else, the West versus the rest. Language forms our subjectivity, and the Western development of the category of religion prioritized heterosexual white male Christian subjectivity as its prototype, creating and imposing a universal, quote unquote, standard of what it means to be a human being. We can find a great example of this in German theologian Friedrich Schleiermacher's popular book, The Christian Faith, wherein he ranks religions, positioning Christianity as the highest, most superior form of religion that has appeared in history, primarily because it is monotheistic and Abrahamic. Also, through supersessionism or replacement theology, Euro-Christians assumed the role of God's covenant people, taking the place of the Israelites in biblical history, turning Jesus into a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white man. As the white colonial order spread, so did the dominant character of religious thinking. Religion became a reflection of Eurocentric theoretical space. Such fundamental presuppositions generated racialized theories of religion that were based on tropes of human evolution and social development, with Euro-Christianity becoming the highest subjective form of what it means to be a human being. African and indigenous peoples were seen as subhuman and could only be civilized or made human through conversion to Christianity. Conversely, the development of human cultures and social organization from what was deemed primitive tribal levels to the higher and more advanced levels of the Western nuclear family, headed by the patriarch, bled into modes of analyzing the human being. This distortion also leaned heavily on a particular construction of time. European scholars thought of non-European peoples and indigenous groups as primitive and essentially reprobate or damned or hellbound beings, intertwining religion with science through notions of progress and evolution that had dire implications for non-Eurocentric ways of conceiving identity. We must remain aware of this history. As religious leaders, it's important to understand why some people, especially from indigenous and marginalized communities and economically depressed parts of the world, are critical of Western Christianity. It's also important to know how our faith is or can be complicit with racism and anti-Black racist ideologies on an existential level. We should be mindful to understand how to appreciate our identity as Christians without reinforcing practices and notions of Christian supremacy, if that's possible. Here are key points to remember. The category of religion is a racialized category even when race is not explicitly on the table. Colonialism undergirds the construction of the category of religion as well as its relationship to racial formation in the West. Counter-narrative should emphasize the idea of race and or the category of religion as a social construct with meanings that can change over time. Here are references I used for this presentation. Think about what you learned from this presentation and let me know if you have any questions.